Ricky Gervais. Empath, Narcissist, or something else. Part 4. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. We now turn to another facet of the life of Ricky Gervais to look at the evidence, which has been taken from a wide variety of different sources to determine what he might be. In this part, we're going to examine some of the things that people have said about him. When you're a famous person, which Gervais is, you invariably are going to invite both admiration, praise, disapproval, and criticism. But when it comes to a famous person, it is noteworthy to determine what is the basis of these responses. Is it as a consequence of people commenting about the work of this individual, providing a critical appraisal of whatever it is that they do, whether they are a sports person, an artist, a singer, a writer, a politician, whatever it might be? Or are the observations directed with regard to their own personal interactions with the famous people, giving us a greater level of insight into how they behave, perhaps also behind the scenes? After all, most public individuals provide you with a public persona which will differ from how they are away from the glare of the spotlight. In some instances, there are vast differences which provide us with significant evidence to assist us in the determination of what that person may well be. There are those that cultivate a public image whereby, as a consequence of excellent PR advice, strong marketing, and carefully controlled appearances, appear like a very competent, likable, interesting individual. Yet away from publicity, the individual may have developed a reputation for being unpleasant, harsh, nasty, upsetting fans, disappointing people, being unpleasant and difficult to work with. In other instances, the public persona may simply just be an extension of what they are like naturally, whereby the warmth and the pleasantry that they exhibit alongside the relevant talent is replicated in their away from the cameras instances. Is this an individual that finds themselves regularly the subject of gossip sites with regard to rumours about their behaviour, or do they find themselves lauded for how they go on when dealing with, for instance, the members of the public? Well, we have a range of opinions about Ricky Gervais. Stephen Merchant, who is a well-known and long-standing collaborator, has expressed admiration for Gervais, stating in an interview that he owes his career to him and has nothing but admiration for him. He also mentioned that they would work together again if the right idea came along. It's evident from the repeated and consistent responses that Stephen Merchant has given, for instance, they work together on The Office, Extras and Life's Too Short, that there is a positive and respectful relationship, notwithstanding professional divergence. Merchant recognises the influence of Gervais on his own career and has spent a long time working with him and has not been an individual that has talked about a soured relationship or any traits of Gervais that are unpleasant. Martin Freeman, who played Tim Canterbury in The Office, has spoken fondly of Gervais' humour and its impact on set. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Freeman describes Gervais as one of the best natural actors I've worked with, and noted that Gervais' antics, such as deliberately trying to make everyone laugh, were both infuriating and joyful. Freeman said, "Ricky was absolutely terrible because I think he saw it as a badge of honour that if he weren't laughing, he wasn't doing his job." Might this be a narcissist that needs people to laugh at him because it signals that they're under control and provides him with fuel? Or is this demonstrative of the fact that he actually cares about the well-being of other people and he wants them to laugh because that makes them feel good and exhibits a strong trait of empathic caring? Ashley Jensen, who was a co-star in Extras, she played Maggie Jacobs, has credited Gervais with transforming her career. In an interview with the Independent newspaper, she said, "I owe it all to Ricky. I wake up every morning to glorious Californian sunshine and a brilliant career, and I have to keep pinching myself to make sure I'm not dreaming." She also mentioned that Gervais' support and the success of Extras opened doors for her in America, including her role in Ugly Betty, further emphasizing her gratitude. Is her gratitude purely as a consequence of the star power of Gervais, and that he has done that because he's able to do that, to assert control over the individual and reap the admiration by way of fuel? Or is it the case, as has been witnessed with Gervais, that he works with often relatively unknown individuals, but does so repeatedly, giving them an opportunity to advance their careers, which is born out of emotional empathy? Robin Ince, a comedian who toured with Gervais, accused him of bullying behaviour that had a significant physical impact on his health. Ince revealed that Gervais' constant digs during their tour led to stress rashes and hair loss. He also mentioned that their friendship ended in 2022 when he publicly criticised Gervais for his comments about the transgender community, describing Gervais' behaviour as bullying. Is this an oversensitive individual that was unable to cope with a comedian being a comedian? Or is this evidence that demonstrates that there is a darker side to Gervais, that he thinks that he's being funny, or that he deliberately covers up bullying behaviour under the auspices of humour? This dismissiveness is indeed a narcissistic trait. Again, it doesn't mean that somebody is a narcissist, but it is often quite common for a narcissist to invalidate individuals by suggesting that when they're hurt by something the narcissist has said and done, "Wasn't that bad? I was only joking. What, can't you take a joke?" And therefore, the fact that Gervais repeatedly engaged in this behaviour, notwithstanding the impact that it was having upon another individual, might support reduced or absent emotional empathy. Ash Atalahala, who was a producer of The Office, expressed discomfort with Gervais' humour, particularly his disability-related jokes. Atala recounted how Gervais referred to him as "my little wheelchair friend," and made other insensitive remarks, reflecting that such humour would not be acceptable today, highlighting a shift in societal norms. This is a valid point. Is this simply humour that was more acceptable back then, and therefore wasn't demonstrative of any devaluing or unpleasant behaviour? Or, irrespective of societal norms, is it the case that Gervais behaving in this way again exhibits an absence of emotional empathy and the use of humour as a means to invalidate, belittle and devalue people? James Acaster, who is a comedian, criticised Gervais' transgender-related jokes in his 2019 stand-up special. In a piece from Bored Panda, Acaster noted that Gervais' humour on this topic was not well received by audiences, reflecting a broader discomfort with Gervais' approach to sensitive issues. Is this perhaps demonstrative of an individual that has sometimes failed to read the room, which possibly might point to an absence of emotional empathy and instead is misfiring cognitive empathy? Or is this simply the risk that you run when you're a comedian, and one that operates with black humour, with provocative comedy and cringe comedy, that sometimes there are going to be people that won't like what you have to say, and it's done in a professional capacity as opposed to being anything demonstrative with regard to your personality? Gervais has also faced criticism from disability advocacy groups for using the term Hmong on Twitter, which was deemed offensive. Although Gervais later claimed naivety about the term's offensiveness, is this attempting to diminish a threat to control, the incident did highlight his tendency to push boundaries in a way that can alienate certain groups. Might this be a difficulty with boundary recognition and also a failing of emotional empathy? Or again, is it simply the fact that this is his style of humour and it's going to offend somebody, irrespective of whether he has the presence of emotional empathy or not? Gervais and James Corden, arsehole, have had a public feud, with Gervais accusing Corden, arsehole, of joke theft. However, Gervais later gave Corden, arsehole, the benefit of the doubt, believing that it was accidental. Is this demonstrative of a narcissist who objected to this particular threat to control and later, for the purposes of facade management, wanted to appear magnanimous? Or is this simply a professional who was irked by the behavior of a known narcissist, but demonstrating emotional empathy and compassion, put it down to it being an accidental transgression rather than a deliberate one? Gervais' comedic style is often described as boundary-pushing and provocative, and it's led to a divide in how he is perceived. Many appreciate his willingness to tackle controversial topics, but some find his humour outdated and offensive. This duality is reflected in the mixed opinions from colleagues, as has been described in the examples that I've given, and others besides. But I'm going to address the nature of Gervais' work alongside his comedic input in a separate part. A few examples of what people think about Ricky Gervais, and it provides us with a somewhat mixed picture. People who are genuinely appreciative of him, others critical of him, and gives us further considerations as to what this reflects. Are the criticisms simply arising out of professional envy and his style of comedy, or do they demonstrate a deeper-seated dark behaviour on the part of Gervais? Well, all will become clear when we look at it in the round, but next we're going to look at another aspect of Ricky Gervais' life. Join me in part 5 for further analysis.